Welcome everybody. Today I'm going to be going over DBT sources and how to use them to create your models.
Okay, what are models? Here on the right, I have an example of a model. Models are just SQL select statements that allow you to shape or model your data the way in which you want. Once your SQL models your data in the way you desire, you can then materialize these models into views or tables in your database using the dbt run command.
What is a source? A source is a special property declared in what DBT calls properties.yaml files. Again, these are going to be files that are going to live within your models resource paths directories. So I created one in my last video called marketing properties right here. These sources are going to be defined within this file I just marked. Um, they're going to allow you to configure a connection to your database source within your YAML file. And on the next slide, I'm going to show you how to do it and why you should do it. But I want you to remember that you can't configure these or you can't define these properties within your DBT project YAML file. You have to do it within your what DBT calls properties.yaml files, which again live within the model's resource paths directories.
Okay, why do we want to use sources? I'm going to explain that to you using this example. I have a DBT connection with my Snowflake database, which is here on the left side. I have a database called DBT YouTube. The schema is called raw data, and the table is called sample funnel data. So because I have that connection already, within my SQL models in the from clause, I could put this in. And this is the database, the schema, and the table name. I will successfully be able to query from my Snowflake database using this. However, imagine a scenario where this name will change for any reason. Then I have to manually go into all the models that use this in the from clause and change it myself. One or two tables is not going to be an issue, but imagine a scenario where I have to change it for 100 tables or 1,000 tables. So this is why we want to use sources. Defining a source right here is going to allow us to configure our connection to a table in one place so that we could better manage models using that connection. So instead of putting this in the from clause, we're going to put this. And now, if the name changes for any reason, then we're going to change our configuration here rather than go into each model separately and change it for each of them manually. This helps us save a lot of time depending on how many models are going to be referencing that table. Okay, so let's demo what I just showed you. Here we are in our marketing properties.yaml file. It lives within our models path directory. Here we can define our sources using the sources property. And how we do this is by using the key sources. And we're going to pass a list of dictionaries as its value. These dictionaries are going to help us define where we want our source to refer to for our data. So the first one is name. We can name it anything we want. I'm going to name it marketing. I'll put some quotes around it. Marketing sources. And then we're going to go locate it in our Snowflake database in this case. And it's going to be called DBT YouTube. Then we're going to look for the schema. And my schema is called raw data. And then finally the tables. So tables is going to accept a list of tables. You can put multiple tables under here. I'm only going to put one, and it's going to be called sample funnel data. We can save this. And now I have my first source in which I can refer to. Okay, now here we are at our model. Again, we're referencing the table using just the typical format we could use, and this will work, just the database schema and table. However, again, if we need to change this name for any reason, then we would have to manually change it in every single model. So let's get rid of this and we'll use the source that we just created. So how we do that is these double squigglies, which indicates that we're going to be using Jinja, and then we're going to do source, parentheses, and then we're going to name our source, which is marketing sources, and then the table that we want to reference. Again, we could have provided a list of tables, and we could choose which table we want to reference here, but we only gave one table, so let's use that table, sample funnel data. Now we can reference our source. Let's check if it works. It does. So now I'll show you my Snowflake account. Again, this is the table that we're using right now. And then once we run our model, we should see a new table pop up. So let's go ahead and go dbt run. Oops, let's save those changes before we go dbt run. And that should go ahead and finish up. And we'll check our Snowflake here, refresh. Yep, dbt tutty, and the table we just created. Okay, so now that our model is created, you guys may be wondering, hey, where did this schema come from? We didn't create this schema within Snowflake. This is actually a schema that DBT created on our behalf, and it's going to drop all our models into this schema. And the reason it does this is for collaboration reasons. For example, if you're working with two other developers, they're each also going to have their own schemas, and they're going to work within their schemas, and each of your guys' work isn't going to affect the work that the others do, right? Um, but there's going to be a time where everybody syncs up and the work's complete, and perhaps there is a production schema that you guys push all of it to. So how do I actually change the name of this schema if I wanted to? I'll show you guys right here. You guys could just go to the Credentials tab under Profile Settings. I'll go to Analytics. And you can see right here is the schema, and you could name this whatever you want.
Okay, so this lesson we learned why would we want to use a source, how do we define a source, how do we reference a source within our models, and additionally, why does DBT drop these models that we've created into separate schemas? Thanks.